mais c'est impossible. Là, c'est sûr que ça ne filme pas, c'est impossible, c'est beaucoup trop proche. Hello YouTube. Aujourd'hui, programme de Loic Nicolas, who is a fellow Frenchman who sent his program a while ago, and we're going to review all of that together. So, he's 18, he is 6 feet 2. I'm rounding that up because he's a 187 centimeters. He lost 10 kilograms last summer just doing cardio stuff, and he went from 170 to 150. So 6'2", 150, it's quite small, it's quite skinny. And then he decided to hit the gym. So his motivation was hypertrophy, he wants to become bigger, that's exactly what I try to do as well. He was doing a 6 days program with a split that he did twice a week with a rest day on Sunday. And he's losing fat to have a clean start for bulking, which is a good thing. Pay attention when you do that type of things because it's easy to end up stuck in a cycle of trying to lose fat, then bulking and getting too much fat, etc. You need those cycles to be as long as possible with as little as a caloric difference as possible. That's how you actually gain muscle and not just waste it all away or gain way too much fat. So as far as the program he's sending me, it's a split. And I think it's the very first split I review, I'm not sure. So we're going to start by looking at the days. When someone sends me a split, when I review a split, I look at the specs of the split, because the good thing with splits is that each day has name of body parts, right? And you can immediately tell if a split is good or not by the body parts, because if they are not plentiful enough, if there's no synergy, it cannot be a good split, because the template dictates that you're going to have lifts that don't belong on the same day together, that the frequency is not going to be right, etc. So for him, Monday is back. So just doing back is okay, because the back is an immense muscle group, right? You could be doing lower back stuff, you could be doing upper back stuff. Issue is you never really only do back. When you do back, you involve some forearms, always. You involve some biceps, depending on the exercise. And if you do lower back, well, you're going to have to involve the glutes and the hamstrings. You don't really have a way around it. The musculature of the hips is also going to play a role. So just back. And he also tells me he does inclined dumbbell curls on that day, which could be a back and biceps day instead, right? Tuesday is chest. Chest for a split makes no sense. You cannot just do chest. There's always going to be some shoulder activation, some tricep activation. If you do flies, you're going to recruit some biceps. A chest day doesn't exist, is what I mean. On Wednesday, he does calves plus leg isolation plus rowing. So it's a leg day plus upper back day. Thursday, he does shoulders plus chest, which is a good split, because when you work chest, you work shoulders, might as well work them together. You can work the shoulders without working the chest, but you also work the triceps. Friday, he does biceps and triceps, which outside of the premises of an arm day is actually not that synergistic. It is, however, quite great for injury prevention. Especially on days where you do heavy pressing, it's nice to have a bicep movement to balance it out. The other way around, I personally never experienced that. I have a massive strong point for my bicep. I never had issues with that, but who knows, maybe it's a thing. Saturday, he does legs. So legs for a split is okay. The issue with body part splits that include leg days usually is that they only happen once a week. But this is already his second leg day, so that's okay. And then Sunday he rests. All right. So I'm not doing this to immediately shut down the program review before it even starts, right? I do this just to give you another view of how a correct body part split gets created, because if you yourself wish to make one day, you're going to have to start with the skeleton of it, which is deciding what day is going to do what, basically. And if you mess up at that point, the chances of the program of being great are very much dead in the water. So let's start with the Monday where he does back. He does low rows on a machine, and he does pyramid sets. All right, he does 4 sets of 10 reps. And at the end of each set, he cuts the weight 50% and he just keeps going. He does lats pull down with a normal grip, which, what is a normal grip? I suppose it's a grip in pronation, and he does it with shoulder width. It's a little bit hard to read his program because he used what we call Franglish, which is a mix of French and English. And he repeats the same principle, meaning that he does his 4 sets of 10 reps, then he cuts the weight at the end of each set by 50%, and he keeps pumping it. He does W raise and Y raises, which are shoulder exercises, but it's both of them are more targeted towards the rear delt. And if you superset them, you might have some issues because you're supersetting the same muscle groups, so be careful with that. He does 4 sets of 12 reps, which for exercises like this, when you do an exercise with the shoulder that is really going to test your range of motion, do it with low weight. The shoulder is super mobile. The issue with joints that have high mobility is that if you put them in a situation where they can overextend with heavy weight, if you enter that danger zone with heavy weight, you're going to get snapped up. And then he does high pulley pullovers. Pullovers are amazing. I don't know I don't know the quality they have with a pulley because the strength curve is different as with a dumbbell, but I'm sure that it's quite good. Actually, now that I think about it, yeah, it should be okay. So 4 sets of 12 reps. Again, there's a lot of shoulder flexion with the pullovers. You really don't want to do like 3 rep maxes on this. It's a recipe for disaster. You could also hurt your chest, you could hurt your tricep, you could hurt your lat. It's not a good idea. Just keep that in high ranges. And then he tells me he wants to maybe try the knee part shrugs that I show on the channel, which for this day would be great because you don't really have much upper trap exercise or trap exercises at all here. Or at least not ones that involved weighted shrugs, which are the best way to grow your traps. After that, he does face pulls, which are great, but you already do W and Y raises, so that's a little bit of a kill. And then you do incline dumbbell curls. Okay, 4 sets of 10 reps. All right. If you heard me speak right now, you should be able to tell that there is an issue with this back day. It resembles what a pro bodybuilder would do, what some would do, meaning it's only machines and light stuff with dumbbells. That's no good for naturals. If I see a back day, you better be doing some pulls from the floor. You better be doing some rack pulls or some block pulls of some sort. It's super important because what you do here is you're going to do a ton of tonnage. That's fine. But you're going to do them in intensity windows that are not super relevant. You're not doing stuff in low reps. And you're not going to do machine stuff in low reps because A, mechanical failure is going to damage your ability to target the muscle too much. And B, it's just not practical and it's actually dangerous to do that stuff. So I highly encourage you to start those days with pulls from the floor. Right? Do a deadlift. Pick a style of deadlift that you like and do it. And then that way you can also progress towards variations. I know that some people, they start with machine only, and when they realize that it's a waste of time to only do machines, they are sort of, it has a name, it's the sunken cost fallacy. They wasted so much time not learning the compounds that now that it's time to learn it, they don't want to. Start now. It's the best moment to start. Even if you start with 135 on the deadlift, in a year you'll be at 315. You're fine. You need to start deadlifting. It's important for naturals. Especially because you're tall and you're skinny. you will never gain mass on those machine movements only. I guarantee you that. Even for someone would be smaller than you, who wouldn't be 6'2", I would tell them to do compounds. For you, you're going to be one of those guys when you're like 25 who's still skinny and who says, oh, I can't progress because of my genetics. When in reality, it's because you didn't try to get stronger. Your potential for strength at 6'2" is immense. So you have to build it. You're already going to be in this longer than smaller dudes to look jacked and big, which is your goal. So please, compound movements. Tuesday, you do chest, you do dumbbell bench press, 4 sets of 12 reps, then incline dumbbell bench press, 4 sets of 10 reps, upright frontal raises for chest, 4 sets of 12 reps, chest fly in the same style where you cut the weight, 4 sets of 10 reps, and then dumbbell skull crushers, 4 sets of 12 reps. Same critique. Too much high rep stuff, not enough intensity. I'm not telling you to bench with a flat bar. If you don't like the flat bar, it's fine. But I want to see dips, I want to see horizontal presses with dumbbells or a bar in lower rep range to progress on strength and to push tonnage. So the opening of this should be dumbbell bench press. You can do 4 sets of 4 to 8 reps. That's already going to still be high reps so that you're still used to it, but you can slowly move on to the, 3 to 6 reps rep range and use evolving rep ranges as well. Because here I see a ton of volume, but I personally don't think it's going to result in much size. Doing an incline dumbbell bench is fine on chest day, but I would much rather see a pure vertical press on that day because you already get so much chest work already. The skull crushers are good, keep them in the program with that rep range because the long head of the tricep needs to get some love. Wednesday, you start with calves. I don't really see the point of that. Strength work for calves, you can put it wherever you want in the workout. I don't see the point in opening the workout with it. It's just a waste of energy. And on a day that is a leg day, I want to see you start with squat, especially when I see the rest of the day. Because you do your calf extensions on an incline press, and then I'm going to come back to the calf stuff, but after that, do leg curls, leg extension. Those are finishers for legs. They are not mass builders. You need to squat. You need to do a knee flexion of some sort or the other. You cannot rely on machines for legs. A leg press would be okay if you have one, if you don't like squats. So that opens the workout, a heavy knee flexion. And as far as the calves, you say that you do 4 sets of 12 reps and you believe you should use heavy weight. No, don't use heavy weight for calves. Use low weight and do volume. Why? When you work your calves, you're going to put stress on the Achilles tendon, on the feet, and on the ankles. And you're going to find with heavy weight that you're going to eventually start to compensate using the structure instead of the muscle. You don't want that. When you do calves, you want to be in control, you want to feel the muscle all throughout. It's not a compound movement. It just isn't. It's an isolation. And with isolations, we want perfect form and we want mind-muscle connection. So stay in higher rep ranges. So that's that. And so for that day, as I said, cut all of that machine stuff. Especially since you're a novice. You don't need it. You need compound movements for now. You also do some rowing on the machine and you do face pulls. That's good. Upper back work, you can never get enough of it. Pay attention because your work capacity is most likely not super high, and I see you doing a ton of machine stuff for the upper back, which is great because it's pure isolation for the most part. It's easier to target that specific part of the back with a machine as opposed to free weights, but it also means that you might overwork certain parts because you always do the same movements. So pay attention to that. Thursday, you do shoulders. You do dumbbell overhead press. Okay, so that's good, a pure vertical press. You don't really like to use barbells, apparently, but if you've never used them, please try. They're quite comfortable, actually, once you know how to use them properly. You do 4 sets of 10 reps. I would like to see something higher intensity for your main vertical press. And then you cut the weight 50%. I will explain later why all of these degressives that you're doing are not the best. Then you do lateral raises, which is great because you're working the rear and the side delt, which might not get worked as much on the overhead press. 4 sets of 12 reps. For lateral raises, that's a great rep range, don't go lower. After that, you do rear delt fly, so more impact on the rear delt. At least I'm seeing a lot of isolation for the rear delt, which is good. It's going to keep the shoulders healthy. You do incline chest press with a machine, and then you do chest press with a machine again, which is a lot of chest. So on that day, you say it's a shoulder day, but you actually work chest too. So I was sort of right when I was talking about the split and the dichotomy of the split at the start. So on that day, I would maybe do less chest press machine. If you want to get some volume for this, just do a pure horizontal press with free weight. I get that you might have a preference for machines. If you want to, if you have a machine that's safe, that you can use with higher weight, then do it and do more intensity with it. Friday you do biceps, and I think here you said, yeah, biceps and triceps. So you do incline dumbbell curl. So for the issue also I have with this day on Friday is that you start falling into the bro split dilemma, which is you're a novice, you don't really need an arm day, you don't need a day dedicated to arms. You need to have, of course, arm isolations, but you don't need to give it their own day. That day could be spent doing more compounds, is what I mean. Or not training, because I just also realized that you're a novice and you are training 6 days a week. That's really pushing it for a novice. Most novices, you can train 3 days a week and be perfectly fine and make great progress. I think the issue is that you're trying to follow a split, and unlike what a lot of people think, body part splits are for people who are quite advanced in programming and also in work capacity and volume and tonnage ability to just handle it. Not necessarily in strength, but your recovery abilities need to be on point, because if not, you cannot utilize the high frequency of body part splits to the extent that they actually provide. And I'm sure that a lot of people are wondering what I'm talking about, because body part splits have been associated with the lowest frequency possible, because people always do body part split while they work the body part once a week. That is a bad body part split. A good body part split would actually promote frequency better than push-pull leg, full body workout, etc. I will make video eventually discussing what the proper body part split is, by the way. So that's the Friday. So you do your incline dumbbell curl. I don't like that lift. I said it before. The range of motion is too high. It doesn't protect the tendons of the bicep. You use too much elastic energy to get the weight up. Just do normal. If you really want to keep doing an arm day, curls, easy bar curls or normal curls, standing up, and you do strength work, 3 to 7 reps with perfect form, right? Don't do cheat reps yet. You don't need them. Then you do brachial curl. Then you do dumbbell curl again, but seated. Then you do low pulley, then you do degressive, then you do screw crushers are good, then you do tricep push downs. You basically do a bunch of fluff, is what I mean. That's too much. This is not how you do an arm day either. Even if you were trying to do an arm day, that's not a proper way to do an arm day. An arm day still respects the principles of volume and intensity. You don't just do 50 sets. I will get to that because it's going to be my finishing message. On legs, on Saturday, you do back squat or incline press. So you do actually squat, but you do it once a week. That's not enough. And you do 15 reps. You do 15 reps, then 12, then 10, then 8, and you increase the bar weight each set. Okay, so you warm up, basically, is what you're telling me. And then you deadlift, so you actually do deadlifts, and you do the same thing. So you end up with 8 reps on each case, which is, again, high volume. You don't really train in high intensity windows. Then you do your leg curls, which leg curls are okay for the hamstrings. They're a good machine exercise. Leg extension, I wish no one did them, but if you like them and they don't hurt your knee, why not? Then you do calf extensions, and you're doing abs every day besides Sunday, which is good. That's what I used to do. That's what I still do, abs every day. That's how I got my abs. And you are looking to use nucleus overload because you have a weakness on the middle lower traps, which I called because you don't train them. So of course you have a weakness here. That makes total sense. Before you even start thinking about nucleus overload for them, start training them. So my critique, and sorry if I sound harsh, but it's something that is very important to hear now so that you don't waste time in the future, Loic. You are doing way too much volume in intensity windows that are not relevant, with lifts that are not relevant. you need to do more compounds, right? You need to do more heavy stuff that is going to help you progress, teach you how to move your body with a bar, and then you can do variations and you're going to progress. I guarantee you, stay on that program, the progress you're going to make in 3 years is going to be minimal. So I'm not even going to do much modifications to that program because I don't think it can be saved. I think you need to go in the playlist review, check the hypertrophy program I made for novices, and start with that, right? Or go into, I made a body part split for intermediates. You can go check that out, leave a comment. I will modify it for you for novices if you really want to do a split. But this is bad. The frequency is bad because you do squats and deadlifts once a week. That's not enough. Deadlifting once a week is okay, but you need variations of knee flexions and pure hip hinges. And I know I'm not surprised to see a program like this coming from someone who's also French. Why? It's the French culture when it comes to bodybuilding to train like that. I know, I've been in gyms in France before. Everyone trains like that. Everyone is obsessed with machines. When you do a deadlift, people look like you're an alien. It's a toxic culture, and the people who promote it and get big off it are usually on steroids. It's not a good program, but I know that youngsters usually jump on that because machines are less intimidating. For someone like you, who is almost 6'2", you might keep growing, you're only 18, who is 160, you need to start lifting heavy. And by heavy, I mean heavy related to you. You might start squatting one plate. I don't care. Progress with that. It's going to also help with progression. You do too much sets of machines everywhere, you're never going to be able to actually track progression on these. It's not possible. You just do too much. So, I said that this cannot be saved. Let's save it real quick. On Monday, you do back. You start with a deadlift, all right? You start with a deadlift, then you pick one horizontal pull that you can do with a machine, then you do some pull-ups, right? And then you can do one trap isolation supersetted with a real delt isolation if you want. Tuesday, you do chest. You start with an horizontal press, you follow that up with a vertical press, and then you can still do some face pulls, and you can do some curls as well. On the Wednesday, you do legs. So you start with a squat, then you do some calf stuff. You can do some high reps hip hinge. You can also do some leg curls if you want. Thursday, you do shoulders. You start with a pure vertical press. After that, you can do some lateral raises, some front raises if you want. You can do some real delt flies. You can do some Y flies if you want to as well. On shoulders, you can do some extra tricep isolation, some skull crushers, for example. You could also do some skull crushers on Tuesday if you wanted. On Friday, you're actually going to do either rest, because you could actually rest on that day if you wanted. And if you really want to do something, you're going to go in and you can do some biceps if you want, but you're going to do it in a strength work way. So you're going to start with a curl, and you can also do an extra upper back day while you're at it. So you can do an horizontal pull, you can do some biceps, you can do some pull-ups, you can get some work in. It can be your shoulder day, and you can do some GPP on that day. If you like to swim, if you like to do weighted carries, you can do that on that day because everything will be warmed up for that. So farmers work on that day would work fine. And then Saturday is your last day. We're going to go heavy and hard. You're going to do heavy deadlifts, then you're going to do a knee flexion accessory or variation. And we're pretty much going to leave it at that because that's enough for a novice to progress on. You can do some back hyperextension for lower back health, and you can throw in some extra trap work because you said that your traps are a weak point. I guarantee you with what I just said, if you work your traps both on the back day on Monday, a little bit on the biceps day because you do a weighted carry that stretches the traps, and then you finish them on Saturday, they're going to grow. So we're going to stop here, Loic. I hope you take that to heart. The program will be in the description. I do not recommend anyone follow that program. I don't think it's good. Again, no offense, Loic, but the earlier you can start learning about efficient movement patterns, time saving too, because I guarantee you spend way too much time in the gym with that program and you're wasting a lot of energy for nothing. The earlier you learn about that, the better you're going to progress and the bigger you're going to get. You're only 18, keep that in mind. When I was 18, I was the same weight as you are now, right? Only difference is you're 2 inches taller than me, okay? So you're starting now, it's going to be a long journey, but if you start on the wrong path already, it's going to be even worse and you might lose motivation. So that's that for the day. Thank you a lot for watching and have a great weekend.